Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. So, before we dive into today's episode, which is going to be breaking down all things The Real Housewives of Atlanta, the new season, all of my hot takes, you guys may agree with them, you may not. I definitely have some hot ideas. And then, if we have time, we will definitely get into the valley and everything going down with Janet and Kristen and Danny and Nia and all that hot mess stuff. So, but before we dive in, a couple of housekeeping stuff I'm super excited to talk about. So, I am starting to do a lot more pop culture and also skincare and lifestyle on my channel. It's kind of like the club candy, so that's going to be really exciting. I will be going live every single Thursday, 6 o'clock East Coast time, 3 o'clock West Coast time. Some of my projects that I was working on behind the scenes have wrapped up. So this summer I have a lot more free time. So I'm going to stick to that schedule. And yeah, and all of the skincare stuff that I do, I'm going to do like different pop culture stories while doing my makeup and my skincare and all my lifestyle stuff. That will be all on my Amazon shop. So go over there, check it out. Everything on there are products that I have and products that I actually use. So my new tagline is pop culture, but make it luxe. So we'll be doing pop culture, skincare, um, fashion, style, luxe, all of it. So watch out for so much more. So be sure to subscribe and share. And yeah, so with that, let's dive into the real nitty gritty. And this is all linked down below as well. But let's dive into why you guys are really here. Let's talk about the girls. We're going to start with RHOA since that was the #1 show requested that I covered tonight. Okay. Here are my hot takes, and then I want to know what you guys think. My first hot take is that I am loving the aunties. And by aunties, I mean Angela and Cynthia. I feel like Angela and Cynthia are carrying the show. Angela with the shade, Angela being a grown woman about everything. Cynthia is giving real, like, wise auntie vibes. She's not in the mess, but she is of the mess. You know what I mean? Like, everybody goes to Cynthia to be the middle person. She's always doing the mediations, she's bringing everybody together. I'm confused as to why Cynthia doesn't have a peach, but Kelli and Britt do. I feel like Kelli and Britt could be friends of, and we need to give Cynthia back her peach. Because if you really watch the show, Cynthia is in basically every episode. She can mingle with everybody. She's really that peacemaker chick. I I don't know. And she's doing a ton of confessionals. I feel like they should have given Cynthia a peach this year and made the other girls a friend of, at least Britt a friend of. Now, this might be another hot take that people may or may not agree with. I don't think we need Phaedra. I know they bought Phaedra back once when they had to fire Kenya for the nonsense she did, but I don't think that we need Phaedra. I felt that her reads came off as very bitter, old, and stale. Like her reads and her shade isn't giving what it used to give. It just seems very old, recycled, and very, very bitter and stale coming from Phaedra. Like she came in hot against Angela, talking about her face. I was like, Phaedra, you have no room to talk about anybody's face any time of any day. Like, you need to stop. So I kind of feel like we didn't really need to bring Phaedra back. Okay. Now let's talk about, oh, and this is my other hot take, and then I'm going to talk about the dynamics of the women of the show. And put your questions in your comments down below in the chat box, and we'll talk about it. Okay. So when it comes to Kelli, I actually think Kelli is the biggest snake and the fakest one of them all. I used to like Kelli, but I feel like Kelli doesn't really like or mess with any of the women on the show. I feel like she sort of sat back on the fence, kind of saw what was going down, then all of a sudden started clinging to Shamea because it was obvious that Shamea was going to be the centerpiece. The show was going to revolve around her. Shamea Man is where the money resides, the mansion, all that. She is now Shamea's lapdog going after Drew for no reason. Drew did nothing to Kelli at all. Saying that everyone at this table except for Cynthia has a problem with Drew. Ma'am, what are you talking about? That's actually not true. Porsha has a problem with Drew. We'll get to that nonsense in a second. Shamea has a problem with Drew because Drew called her all the way out, calling her a lapdog, which wasn't a beef. That was an observation. So get it right. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puff Shamea. Shamea is crazy, but we'll get to Shamea in a second. I think Kelli is the biggest, fakest snake of them all. There's something dark about her that I don't think she's showing her real self. I think, and again, this is all alleged. This is all my opinion. This is just vibes I'm picking up on. I think that Kelli is hiding a lot of dark stuff. Number one, the whole crystal. Miss me with this crystal sage crap, okay? If it's not Jesus in the Bible, leave me alone. I'm tired of all these housewives with their astrology, with their crystals, with their prophetess. Miss me with all that nonsense. But besides that, I think that there's something shady going on with her ex-husband. I think there's something shady with the divorce. I think there's something shady with the restaurant money. Like, like she was saying how he embezzled like $500,000, but there was also like investor money that was missing. Like, there's just a lot of shadiness and darkness around Kelli that I don't think she's being honest about. I think she's being very fake. I don't think she likes or messes with any of those women. I don't think she likes Shamea. I think she thinks Shamea is a corny clown, the way we all think Shamea is a corny clown, but she knew to align herself with Shamea to stay relevant, to stay in the good graces, and to be aligned with who she could tell Bravo was making the centerpiece. I think Kelli will be a flip-flopper any way the wind blows, as long as she thinks it's in her best interest and is serving. I think she'll be up Shamea's butt for the rest of the season. Okay. So there's something off and dark about Kelli to me. So I want to know what you guys think about that. Now let's get into Porsha's dynamics and Porsha fights with the girls, because overall, let me start with Porsha overall. Then I'll talk about Porsha versus Shamea, and then I'll talk about Porsha versus Drew. To me, Porsha overall is in her flop era. Like, she was supposed to come back, she got her peach back and she was going to bring the juice, and she's getting this, high profile divorce from Simon, blah, 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 blah. But she gets on the show. She's depressed and a Debbie Downer. And I'm not saying that about mental health. Obviously not, I don't mean it that way, but she's just a Debbie Downer. She's in her flop era. She's not giving what I think Bravo thought she was going to give and what we, the audience, thought she was going to give. She can't even really talk about Simon. Her storyline is beefing with Drew over a non-existent dentist beef, which I'll get into in a second, falling out with Shamea, but I actually blame Shamea for that. To me, Shamea is a ticky, ticky, boom, boom, crazy person. And going this episode, she went to go look for a 8-bedroom house when it's only her and her daughter Pilar. I'm confused. Does her mom live with her? Does Lauren live with her? Like, why does she need an 8-bedroom house? Like, just doing stunts because she can't actually film at the house she's in because Simon won't let her film there. She can't even talk about the divorce because it's so contentious and all the legalities. And her energy just isn't what it is anymore. I think she's older now. I think she's going through a very humiliating public divorce. People are looking at her all types of sideways for what she did to Fallon. She's not Porsha popping at P anymore. And it's just giving her flop era. So I don't think Porsha's giving what anybody thought she was going to give. I'm not sure why they thought she was going to give, or I don't think we need Porsha. I don't think we need Phaedra, to be perfectly honest. But since they are here, let's talk about what's going on with them. So Porsha versus Shamea. To me, I'm team Porsha when it comes to this. Not even a team. I'm more on Porsha's side than on her team. I think Shamea is a malignant people pleaser. You know how you have like malignant narcissist? So you have the narcissistic people who just take, and they don't care. They do it to the detriment of other people. They just take and they do whatever, we get the whole narcissist person, and they usually feed on people who are very kind and giving and empathic and people pleasing, and they want to give. But the reason why that dynamic works is, and this is me coming from a recovered people pleaser, but not a malignant one. Both sides are users. People pleasers are users, and narcissists are users. The narcissist uses the other person. I get my worth from what I get from you. So I'm going to take, because that's where I get my validation from, how much I can take from somebody else. The people pleaser they're using the other person because they don't have any self-esteem or self-worth or, high respect for themselves. They get their value and their relevancy from what they do for other people. As long as I'm saying yes, as long as I'm, your lap dog, or I'm your number one, or whatever the case may be, if I'm always there for you, then I'm relevant, then I'm worthy, then I'm valuable. So narcissists and people pleasers are two sides of the same coin, and they're both using the other person to get what they don't inherently have. The reason why I call Shamea a malignant one is because I think Shamea is the type of people pleaser that does it with such malice and such ill intent. I think Shamea hates Porsha. I don't think she's her friend. I don't think she likes her, not nan one bit. I think Shamea hates herself. I think Shamea has such low self-esteem, low self-worth. She was even talking about it on the episodes, how she will focus on other people's problems, so she doesn't focus on her own problems. So she's using other people to escape from her own life. I think that Shamea waited it out with Porsha as her lapdog, as her BFF, because she gets her relevancy and she get her shine from proximity to Porsha. And just because somebody will be close to you, whether it is a family or a friend, does not mean they actually like you. I think Shamea hates Porsha because the moment Shamea got her peach, she flipped. Her tune about Porsha changed. She does it in a very fake victim way. The ladies just keep coming to me talking about Porsha, saying all these horrible things, but like I just don't say anything. And like Porsha's just like isn't there for me the way I'm there for her, and blah 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 blah. Like, why can't you be the same off camera as you are now that we're on the same platform, and blah 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 blah. Shamea, you're crazy. And I agree with Porsha when she was looking at her like, this is scary and you're crazy and what the hell is going on. I think Shamea, since childhood, has gotten away with riding Porsha's curtails by playing the people pleaser BFF. You know what I mean? And now all of a sudden, she's acting like she's so resentful and so bitter and has such a problem with it the moment she gets the same platform that Porsha has. Now, on the flip side of that, when it comes to Porsha, I'm not saying Porsha is a great friend or a great person, whatever the case may be, but Porsha was only doing what Porsha was doing and what Shamea allowed her to do. I also think there's a bit of like destiny swapping here. Like, look at what they were talking about with Shamea's mom and Porsha's mom. Allegedly, word on the street is, and this I got this from Reality Blurb. I think they got it from House of Aaron. But allegedly, word on the street was Shamea's mom and Porsha moms were friends. Porsha mom was doing like different daycares or whatever. Either 9/11 happened or something happened, and the daycare business went sideways, and Porsha's mom was no longer able to have the building that she was doing the daycare. Behind Porsha's mom's back, Shamea's mom went, bought the building, and then duplicated the same daycare business structure that Porsha's mom was doing. Now, to me, this is a case of a mother and daughter duos where the apple doesn't fall that far from the tree. I think Porsha's mom likes to dip it and do it. We all know Porsha is a product of an affair, allegedly. Porsha has no problem sleeping with married men or threatening to sleep with married men. Shamea likes to destiny swap with Porsha. I think she hates Porsha. I think she was just biding her time the moment she could get on the platform to turn on Porsha and to become the number one peach holder and to get everybody on her side. It seems like her mom was pretty much the same with Porsha's mom. So it's like, history repeating itself. So I think that both of these people, hey, Misty said child got hurt at the daycare and Diana had to close. Yep, that's crazy. But this is the thing, though. I think Shamea harbors such bitterness and resentment and hatred towards Porsha But to Porsha's face, she acts like she's so loyal and they're such BFFs. But behind Porsha's back, I think she's strategically trying to get all the other women on her side, if that makes sense. So there is that where I kind of land on that one. Now, when it comes to Porsha versus Drew, I'm team Drew all day long. However, I do have a question for Drew. Miss Drewby, you grew up in Hollywood, acting, singing. You are really good friends with Kandi Burruss and that whole crew. How is it the only producer you could get to work with you was Dennis the hot dog man? Couldn't you ask Kandi to hook you up with some music producers? Don't you have so many connections already in Atlanta and the music, career, whatever the case may be? So my only reason why I'm looking sideways at Drew with that one is you are already in Hollywood, Black Hollywood, whatever you want to call it. How is it Drew, that Dennis, the hot dog man, is the only person you could get to work with you with your music? I don't know. We all know there's a lot going on with the music industry, entertainment industry. Maybe Dennis was the only nice one. I don't know. But when it comes to Porsha versus Drew, number one, I think Porsha is lying through her teeth on so many things. Number one, I think Porsha 100% knew that Dennis and Drew were working on music together. I think that Dennis told her. And when Drew was texting Porsha to meet up to talk, the reason why Porsha kept ignoring her and blanking her was because Porsha didn't want to meet up with Drew to talk. She was pissed. She was bitter and she was pissed because, let's be honest, Porsha wants Dennis. Porsha's always wanted Dennis. I think half the reason why she even got with Simon was to try to make Dennis jealous, and it didn't work, and that blew up in her face. I think Porsha 100% knew that Dennis and Drew were filming together and were doing music together, and that's why she wasn't answering Drew's call. If Porsha and Drew were such good friends, why would Porsha out of the blue randomly stop returning Drew's phone calls and text messages unless she was pissed off and was purposely blanking her? So then she could come back and say, I didn't know you did all this stuff behind my back, this, that, and the third, yada, 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 yada. Also, I'm very confused as to why the girls on the show keep being like, oh, well, Porsha just got her lick back by filming with Ralph. Because again, in my opinion, Porsha, you're lying. You got your lapdog Shamea to set up a scene where she would be filming with Ralph, and you just so happen to pop by thinking you're just going to get dinner with Shamea, but yet you already had on hand, you already had all these questions for Ralph about Drew just on the ready to go. And you didn't look surprised. You're not that good of an actress. You couldn't even act surprised. Everybody know that whole scene, you set it up because you wanted your lick back. But that's not the same. Number one, Drew and Ralph are in a very contentious, ongoing divorce. Ralph dogs Drew out all the time. You and Dennis allegedly are happily co-parenting PJ. You guys are in a good place. It's apples to oranges. If Drew had been filming with Simon behind your back, that would be a lick back because you and Simon are in a very contentious divorce and he dogs you every time he can. That would be apples to apples. But Drew with Dennis, when they are cool and you and Dennis allegedly are cool, and her filming to promote the music that you clearly already knew about, that he has already told you about, that isn't a lick back. That is just you being very petty and very bitter and just showing the world you still want Dennis. And you were jealous that Drew was working with him. You were jealous that Drew was working on her music. You were jealous that Drew was working with Dennis. You were jealous of Shamea working on music. That's why you tried to clown her with calling her voice Drew's voice at the dinner party. Now, I don't mind you clowning Shamea because I think Shamea to me is a very weird person. I don't know. Shamea is very weird to me. She's barking like a dog at the table. She's unable to have adult, intelligent conversations. I don't know. Shamea is very weird. She's always singing and doing voices. She's cuckoo. She's cuckoo to me. Shamea is a very weird, scary, cuckoo person. Maybe that's just me, but I personally would not be around her. she's very off to me. Like, I can't hear you. What, your ears, dog ears. Woof, woof. Like, there is something just ticky, ticky, boom, boom about Shamea. And again, like I said before, Shamea hates Porsha. She has always hated Porsha. Don't get it twisted. She pretends to be Porsha's friend, but the way she talks about Porsha, the energy she has for Porsha, I think she bided her time until she was able to get herself in position on the platform. And now she's going after Porsha. Don't get it twisted. Shamea is calculated going against Porsha. The whole side conversations with Angela and with Drew and with Kelli and, oh, playing the victim and this, that, and a third. And, oh, I just want you to be the same off camera and all this stuff. Calculated. Why did she wait to get on the show to all of a sudden flip on her bestie? Where was all this smoke for Porsha before? And this also might be a hot take. Yeah, you guys may or may not agree or disagree with this. But I also heard a lot of people say, oh, Porsha didn't want Shamea on the show. She didn't want to share the platform. You're damn right. You don't have to share every opportunity you have with everybody you know. If I get an opportunity to be on a platform, that doesn't mean I have to give that same opportunity to my friend. Hell no, it's a job. It's a job. Yes, in a perfect world, you would be like, okay, cool, like we can all come. But no, you need to have boundaries with people, or else you're going to get this foolery we're watching now. You have to have boundaries. It is okay to say, no, this is my job. This is a platform I have. And no, I don't want to share it with certain friends. Maybe I don't want to share it with certain family. Maybe I don't want to share it with certain people. This is my job. And this is my opportunity that I got. This is my platform. Nothing under the sun says I have to make a way for you to be on it either. Now, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. This is where things get tricky. It is one thing to say, this is my platform and this is a boundary I have. This is what I want. You're my friend. I wish you well, but I don't feel comfortable sharing this platform with you for whatever reason. Versus, oh yeah, girl, I got you. But behind the scenes trying to sabotage or not doing what you said you would do. Those are two different. I'm not saying Porsha did that. I'm just saying I don't think that Porsha had to get Shamea on the show. No. If I'm working at Walmart, I don't have to get my friend a job as a cashier at Walmart. I don't have to do that. And if more people were confident enough to have boundaries and to keep some things separate, there would be a lot healthier relationships and a lot better stuff, because a lot of people are taken down by trying to give and do out of obligation. No. So if I'm Porsha, maybe I don't want to share this with Shamea, and you don't have to. You don't have to. Some people might think, no, she should. That's her friend. Hell no. No, you don't. No, you don't. Especially now with Cuckoo for Cocoa Puff Shamea. Shamea is cuckoo. She's nuts. Okay, let's get back to Porsha and Drew. So again, I'm confused when the lady's like, Porsha got her lick back. She didn't get her lick back. Drew was not out here hanging out with Simon. She was in the studio with Dennis, Porsha's good co-parent. She knows Dennis. They're all around the same circles. What's really the issue? What's really the problem? So it's not the same. And also Drew made a really good point where she was like, me and Dennis are just talking about music and promoting the businesses, whereas the only reason why Porsha and Ralph would be to talk against me and down to me. And that's also a big difference too. If your only intention to film with him is to be nasty and malicious and try and take me down, that's very different intentionality than me doing business with somebody that you busted it open for and popped a baby out for, but he didn't want to wife you down and now you mad about it. Those are two different situations. And I'm also calling BS on Porsha and Dennis with their whole happy co-parenting BS. I'm going to tell you why. Did you guys catch the scene with the au pair? This was a couple episodes ago. So Porsha apparently gets an au pair from South Africa to come and to take care of PJ. So an au pair is basically a live-in nanny. They're usually from overseas. They don't have to be, but they could be. If Porsha and Dennis are such good co-parents, right, for PJ, they're on the same page. How come on camera, the day the chick is moving into the house to take care of their daughter, was the very first time Dennis ever met or heard of this woman? Excuse me? I don't have children. However, if I did, if I was co-parenting with my child's husband and he was like, yeah, Cans, I have an au pair coming. They're going to live in the house with me and your child. Here's the first time you're going to meet them on camera. This is the person's name as they have their bags in from their international flight from South Africa. Excuse me, hell no. So, and Dennis was just cool with it. That to me shows you what the real dynamic is there. Porsha is the one taking care of Pilar. She doesn't have to roll anything by Dennis, and Dennis is just cool dad, whatever the case may be. Because I think I like Dennis from what I see. He doesn't seem to be sketchy. He just seems to be like a dude. But I think any parent would be like, excuse me, I need to interview the person who is going to be living with and overseeing basically a second mother to my child before that happens. But yet it's on camera because we see this all happen. He doesn't even know what an au pair is. Meets this chick for the very first time on camera when she already has her bags and her passport stamped. And you want to tell me that is a communicative, attentive co-parenting situation? Stop lying. Stop lying. No parent is going to be cool with that. He didn't even know what this chick's name was, and she was moving in to take care of his child. Stop it. Stop it. Okay, so there's that. All right, I'll get to some other stuff about all of that. Anyway, let's talk about some other stuff. Angela. To me, Angela is she's the VIP of the show. She's the MVP of the show too. I think she's hilarious and she's very funny. But there are some things about Angela's stories that I'm like, do I believe this? I don't know. So the whole thing about the side baby, when Angela is showing her kids on the show, she's like, these older two are mine. And then she goes, Charles Jr. is his. And then the daughter is theirs. My question is, how old is Charles Jr.? Because I tried to get different. I wasn't sure if on the show it was like a younger photo of him or a photo of him because he looked like he was 10 or 11, 9, 10, 11. That's basically how long Angela and Charles have been together. Not married. I mean, they've been married for 8, 9 years, but together for like 10, 11. So if his son is 10 or 11, but that's not her child, then whose child is he? Is he, you know what I mean? Like it just skipped over. I'm not sure. Maybe it was a younger picture and he's older. I don't know, but it just seemed a little, I don't know what was going on there. I don't know. Also, what seemed really weird was Angela was trying to make us believe that Charles and her mother didn't talk for 3 years over an argument about Angela not cleaning. On what planet would a mother-in-law and a son-in-law stop speaking for 3 years over one argument because the son-in-law just said, I want my wife to clean more? Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. Did the mom find out about the side baby? Did the mom find out about more cheating? Because Angela's basically told us this man has been dogging her out and cheating on her the entire time they're together. She's like, we got married. He got kicked out of some stadium. He got his ego bruised. So he was out there dipping it and doing it and popping it all over the place with all these women. So we had to separate right after getting married. We haven't gotten our vows renewed yet. He doesn't know how to be a husband. He didn't know what that meant, how to settle down. We're getting to know each other. We're getting to love. Like, it's just all over the place. And I'm like, what is going on, queen? Like, what? Now, when I thought that her and Charles were together and it was just like a glorified roommate situation and she was totally cool with it, I was down with it because that's kind of what I thought. But if she's not and she's like sad and kind of hurt by the whole situation, then I want more for her because he treats her like a buddy. He treats her like she's like the homie. Charles treats Angela like she's the homie, not like she's the wifey. So if she wants wifey treatment, then I want that for her. Do you know what I mean? I like Charles. Clearly, he's out there sowing his wild oats. Get it? But yeah, some of her stories aren't adding up, but she is good. When she went, oh, and she's also calculated. So calculated, which I was like, chef's kiss. So Angela, and I'll tell you why. So Angela sat on the information that Shamea was dogging the hell out of Porsha. She sat on that for like 3 months and she held that until she had to throw the grenade. So the only reason why Angela told Porsha about Shamea dogging her out, saying she's not a good friend, she didn't come to my wedding, she's never there for me, blah, 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 was because when Porsha was drunk on the Henny talking about, I'm going to sleep with Charles, I'll make me sleep with your husband. And then lapdog Kelli and lapdog Shamea were kikiing about it. And that's what hurt Angela. She's like, look, I thought we were building a friendship. Your friend who is legitimately known for sleeping with married men, not just married men, but married men of her coworkers, which I now am one of, is laughing about that, and you don't say anything, you don't check her, you don't step in, that's making me side-eye you. And the reason why Angela had more smoke for Shamea was because I think, one, she probably thought more of Shamea. I don't know why, because to me, and again, this is just my opinion, I think Shamea and Porsha are the same. I think they both were out there pop locking it and dropping it for the highest bidder. That's just my opinion based on what they have said and what they have done. That's just what's out there. So don't Kenya Moore me because I'm not trying to do any of that. I'm just saying from what they have said about themselves, what their past has been, they were the same. They're, out there busting it for the highest bidder, apparently. So I think that I think that Angela probably thought more of Shamea because, again, Shamea plays that victim. She plays that beta to Porsha, but Shamea is just, in my opinion, as dirty as Porsha is when it comes to all that stuff. It just, that's the vibe it gave. Whatever the case may be, that's just my opinion, allegedly, okay? So, of course, Shamea is going to laugh and kiki because Shamea doesn't care. Any woman that is going to laugh and kiki with another chick about sleeping with somebody else's man is a woman who either has done it herself or has no problem doing it herself. I'm not married, but if I was hanging out with someone and they were joking about sleeping with another woman's husband, I personally would have a problem with that. I would be like, excuse me, that's whack as hell. Like, that's not funny. That's not a kiki. That's not a joke. Because I respect marriage. I respect husbands and wives. And that's not something that I personally would do. Therefore, I would never co-sign it. The reason why Kelli and Shamea are kikiing is because that is their way of co-signing it. Shamea and Porsha are the same. Shamea just gets away with a lot more because she plays victim beta to Porsha. But they're the same. Birds of a feather flock together. Come on, they're the same. And so that's when Angela was like, all right, well, then you want to clown me? You want to talk about my husband? Well, the two of y'all friendship ain't as clean as you're trying to pretend it is. I'm going to tell you exactly all the grievances that Shamea was saying about you, Porsha. Since you, Porsha, you want to say you want to sleep with my husband, and then Shamea, you want to kiki about it. Well, let me tell you what's really good. Let me tell you what's up. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yes, queen, that is how you do it. You take the tea, you sip the tea, and then you spread the tea as needed. And she came and she delivered. I don't care what nobody say. Angela is the best, and she's holding the whole show down. Now, who's bringing the show down, I would say, is Britt. Britt. They should have brought Britt on if they were going to bring her on. They don't need to bring her back as a friend of. She's giving fraudulent vibes, fraudulent life. it's all a hot mess. Allegedly, word on the street. I'm not saying I believe this. I'm just repeating what's on the street, what's out there. Allegedly, she is a beard for her husband, who his alleged partner came out, was like, no, he's my man, and all this other stuff. I don't know if that's true or not. I have no idea. I'm not putting it out there. I'm just talking about what's already out there on the streets. Beyond that, with Britt, she has no etiquette training. Who has a launch party or a pre-launch party and only has merchandise for 5 people, just for the RHOA girls, only has food for her husband and the RHOA girls? No, sweetheart. Number one, if you don't have a budget for everybody to eat, then nobody eats. Okay? Then you just have cocktails and you pass hors d'oeuvres. Okay? That's fine. So many brands, you go and you just have some pass hors d'oeuvres, you have a little cocktail, maybe some little champs, whatever the case may be, and it's cool. It's a vibe. You don't just serve one table and then let everybody else not eat. Or you don't invite those extras, because who were those people? Was that press? Were they bloggers? Like, who were the people in the background? They just seemed to be like extras from central casting. Then don't invite the vagabonds. No shade to those people. You don't invite the extra people because it looks whack. And then you feed the people you can feed, and you have a sit down dinner and you have the entrees and you feed the people you can feed. But you don't do only these people get food and these people don't. It's one or the other. Feed the people you can feed and make it very, very intimate, or nobody eats. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, girl, like, you get it together. Also with the merch, if you're inviting press, if you're inviting bloggers, shout out to Miss T. She says she saw some YouTubers. You're inviting, social media influencers, YouTubers, whatever the case may be. You need to either have, like, again, with the food, you either have something for everybody or you have something for no one. This is what Britt should have done. She should have had an intimate pre-launch party with just the RHOA girls, and maybe maybe 2 or 3 people that she could afford to feed and give merch to, and just have it be very intimate. And then send lookbooks and press releases, requests for samples available to all the other press people, rather than having like a very half-ass event because it was whack. Also with Britt, that is not adding up. I started thinking about her whole insurance stuff, where she was like, oh, I created an insurance company because when my dad died, he was in between promotions or jobs or something, and so we didn't get the insurance payout. Does that make sense to anybody? That didn't make sense to me. I thought insurance lapse if you don't pay the premium. Does life insurance lapse when you go into different, I don't know. Whatever, may he rest in peace. But again, that was a little shifty. But then I heard that her insurance company wasn't even life insurance. It was like jewelry insurance. So your father passes away and you decide to go into jewelry insurance, allegedly. Anyway, I also heard there wasn't any website for it. It was just like Instagram stories, something very weird and shady. Also, didn't Britt say, and I believe this was before the whole Kenya stuff happened, or maybe after, but I think it was before. Didn't Britt say that the reason why her and her sisters fell out was because she sold her insurance company after she got married and they were pissed about that or something? I'm guessing she sold it and probably kept the money, because why else would they be pissed? I don't know. But then she has the whole meltdown when she lied and said that her insurance license was revoked because of the whole Kenya stuff. And then Angela clocked it and she was like, no, she was like, I have insurance license and you have a whole process. Like, they wouldn't just randomly revoke it. And then she was like, oh, and she got all, out of pocket doing her defense mode stuff. And then she was like, oh no, it's like under review, which again, whack. I'm confused. If you had already sold your insurance company because you got married, that's what she said, then why are you having this meltdown over your insurance license allegedly being reviewed or revoked when you already sold the company and you weren't even doing insurance. So you got married, sold the insurance company, you weren't working, and then all of a sudden you're pretending like your license got revoked. Like none of that makes any sense. And now you want to do shapewear anyway. So why lie about the insurance license when you had already sold the business and you weren't even doing insurance? Like I don't know. That just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. I get scammer vibes, grifter vibes. Britt and her husband give me Dorit and PK vibes. Like it's all a grift. Like there's, you know what I mean? Like nothing is real. It's all smoke and mirrors. Like there's going to be a big bankruptcy. There's going to be a foreclosure. There's going to be, they just give me PK Dorito vibes, if that makes sense to you. Like something isn't working there, you know. It's kind of where I feel about her. Let's see. What else, you guys? Oh, this is a hot take, and I want to know what you guys think about this. Some people were dogging Britt for not donating enough to the Grenada trip. Is it Grenada? Grenada. I hope I'm saying it right. To the Grenada trip. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't think you can tell someone how much they can or cannot donate. It is a donation. Unless it's like, you know, we're going to this gala and it's all going to a good cause, and, you know, each table is a $5,000 table. Okay, that's fine. The buy-in of the donation is $5,000. We get it. That's what the case is. But if you're going on a girls' trip and you're saying we're getting things together and we're going to donate it, you can't then micromanage or control how much someone does or does not donate. That's a donation is a gift someone freely gives. Now, do I think Britt should have given more? Of course, I think she should have given more. You know, if I'm going on a trip and I'm, you know, giving back to a country, you know, I'm going to give as much as I can. But again, you never really know somebody's situation. You could tell Britt was very embarrassed when she saw everything going on. Maybe they don't have as much as she pretends like they have. She's rolling up with a Birkin. She's rolling up with the words. She's all fronting, you know, like they say, you know, wealth whispers. But whatever the case may be. But even if she is a billionaire, you cannot tell her how much she should or should not donate unless that is clearly specified up front. Minimum donation of X, Y, and Z for this, or this is what it is. I don't think it's right to try to control or micromanage how much somebody gives, regardless of what their means are. You can have an opinion on it, but I think it's kind of foolery to judge it. And also, another big thing for me, I just feel all of these women, except for Angela and except for Cynthia, but I mean all the way from Phaedra to Porsha to Kelli, and not Drew, actually, Britt, they all just seem very corny and very whack. Do you know what they just all seem like? Britt to me is very corny. She's very insecure. She's doing a lot of showing and peacocking. And when Angela clocked her and was just like, you got some mild on your mouth, you got some stretch marks in your mouth, like, don't come for me. I didn't send for you, sweetheart. Like, she clocked her. To me, watching Angela is like watching like a very bratty little girl trying to be cool, trying to sit at the cool girls club, but she's like very bratty running around. Porsha to me is a flop. She's in her flop era. She just seems very down and out, low energy, doesn't want to be there. I don't know why she's there. Shamea to me is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I think there's multiple screws loose with Shamea. She probably has a shrine to Porsha, but at the same time, I think Shamea wants to like skin Porsha alive, wear her skin, but she also hates her. And that's a very scary dynamic, if that makes any sense. Kelli to me is the fakest of the fake of the fake of the fake. I don't think her business is legit. I think there's something going on with the investor money. There's something also going on with her ex-husband, and she's just fake. She's very fake. I don't think she likes any of the women. I think she's only up Shamea's butt because of Shamea's money and because Shamea is the centerpiece. But Kelli to me just gives very fake, which stinks because I liked Kelli in the beginning. But the more I got to see the way she moved, she's moving very snaky, fakey, especially when she came after Drew. I was like, so why are you being Shamea's lapdog? Again, I told you, destiny swapping. Shamea is so used to being Porsha's lapdog. But now that Shamea is trying to take over Porsha's position, she needs a lapdog. Come in, Kelli. Now all of a sudden, Shamea is hosting the party. Shamea is, the one at the head, all this stuff. Now Shamea has her own lapdog. Hit dog a holler, just like Drew said. I like Drew. I think the way Drew is handling the girls is flawless. She's giving them nothing but everything at the same time. The one-on-one sit down with her and Porsha was so bothered. You're so combative and angry. And Drew was like, I'm not. I'm trying to get a tea. Like, what's the problem? I'm just trying to talk to you. I think with Drew, I'm not really into Drew's music, so I'm not really sure about this, but it's giving one of two things. Did people in the music industry not want to mess with Drew? And so she kind of like had to go to Dennis, and it was like a lifeline thing. But then I thought Drew was kind of like, Black Hollywood princess type vibes, like a Megan Good situation. Gabrielle Union. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I'm liking Drew this season. I do think, Ralph. Let's talk about Ralph for like a hot second. I can't stand him. I can't stand Ralph. There is nothing on the face of this earth that is more disgusting and that is more than a turnoff than a man who tries to take a woman's livelihood and money from her. That is the most low down, disgusting thing ever. He's trying to take Drew Sidor LLC, own 40%, and her, like, dude, like, even if a man is dead broke, any real man with any ounce of integrity, any ounce of masculinity, any ounce of self-respect would never come for a woman's pocket, would never come for a woman's livelihood, let alone the mother of his children. Ralph is disgusting. Ugh. I don't care. Like, that's playing so dirty and gross. Ugh. Ralph is just all over the place. And the way he was like kikiing with Porsha and Shamea about Drew, again, any ounce of a real man, you could be in the most contentious divorce you ever wanted to be in the history of your life, and you still would not get with two women coming after the mother of your children and kiki with them on camera like that. You just don't do it. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Okay, let's see. Let me check my notes if I missed anything. I think that was it, you guys. I think that was it. So yeah, that's kind of where I stand on RHOA this season, the Real Housewives of Atlanta. That's kind of where I landed with everybody. But as always, I want to know what you guys think. So be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And I will drop the link for anybody who wants to come up and chat. And in the meantime, I will take your candy cane questions and comments. All right. Okay. Hi, Tay. He says hi. Hey, Darren. What's up, sweetheart? Tay says, Britt could stay off. Did you see the reunion chart? Okay. Yes, Britt 100% could stay off. I have not seen the reunion chart yet. So drop any spoilers in the chat box. But I agree. I think that they should have given Cynthia a peach. The way Cynthia is, the way they worked Cynthia this season, Cynthia has been everybody's auntie, mediator, best friend, lover friend. She's been in every confessional. She's gone on every single girls trip. They might as well have given Cynthia her peach. they should have made Britt a friend of, and even Kelli a friend of. Because like I said, I'm not here for Kelli. I think she's very fake, and I think there's a lot of darkness that she's not showing. Darren says, I love Angela this season, plus I'm living for Cynthia. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I feel like Angela and Cynthia are the aunties, and they are giving and they are carrying the show. I would have preferred that rather than bringing in Phaedra, they should have brought in one of Angela's friends to kiki with. That would have been some old school housewives where the women are women, you know, because the old housewives, the majority of the women were auntie ages, you know, like they were like Vicky and Ramona and Nene and like all their ages. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Miss T, that's right, you guys. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Yes, yes, yes. Hey, sweetheart. Hey, Kwan the John. Is that Johnny? I hope I'm saying it right. Hey, Johnny. It says Britt didn't even show at the reunion today. What? Get out. Doesn't Britt and Kelli have a really big falling out? But Britt not showing up at the reunion, maybe she just turned in her peach then. Dwan says Drew is having an amazing season, but I think this will be her last season. And you know, it could be, because I agree with that statement too. I do think she's having a really good season, but at the same time, she's also kind of phoning it in too. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't mind a little bit more of a shakeup. I think they should definitely bring Angela back. They could bring Cynthia back. I think that they should find some more Angela friends. I don't need Shamea. I don't need Phaedra. I don't need Porsha. Honestly, I don't even need Kelli. But he says, why is Phaedra back? We don't need her. Exactly. They brought her back when they got rid of Kenya. But, and this is what I wanted to say too, you guys. When it comes to Porsha and Shamea, another reason why these two are not real friends, and another reason why these two really hate each other. You cannot be true friends, especially women. I say this as a woman. You cannot truly be friends with someone who is friends with someone who does you dirty. And what I'm talking about is the Kandi Burruss and the Phaedra of it all. Remember seasons ago, and by seasons ago, I mean when Phaedra and Kandi and Porsha were all on RHOA, and Phaedra said that Shamea and Kandi were in a smexual relationship, and she did the whole thing. She's like, you know what I mean? She was talking about Shamea and Kandi. So on national, international television, Phaedra said that Shamea and Kandi were in a schmexual relationship. Number one. Number two, Shamea is still really good friends with Kandi. We all know Kandi cannot stand Phaedra, and she only simply ever tolerated Porsha after the whole sex dungeon situation, right? Now, during the time when Shamea was getting married to her current husband, word on the curb is that Phaedra was dogging her the hell out and telling anybody who would listen that Shamea was still sleeping around the streets of Atlanta. If I am Porsha, how am I frickin' frack with Phaedra? And how am I also BFF with Shamea, given the friction and the true beef between these two women? Shamea can't stand Phaedra because of what Phaedra did to Kandi, and Shamea can't stand Phaedra because Phaedra was saying she was still sleeping with the streets in Atlanta when she's allegedly getting married. Well, allegedly sleeping with the streets when she's getting married, right? So how am I reconciling being both friends with both of them? You can't. And then Shamea, how are you good friends with Kandi, who cannot stand Porsha after everything that happened? Because these people are not friends. They like to throw that friend around word real quick, but they're not really friends. And I stand by it. Watch how Shamea looks at Porsha. She looks at her with disdain. And when she's fake crying, she kind of has a little smirk on her face. Shamea is a dangerous person. Phaedra better wake up. Hey, Salt and Pepper Natural. I see you, sweetheart. I'm going to pull you up in 1 second. Okay. That's right, you guys. Miss T says, Kelli has a lot of smoke and mirrors. Exactly. Darren Hood says, I mean, without Simon being beside her, she doesn't have anything to showcase. And this is another thing with that. How Porsha doesn't have a leg to stand on, okay? How is she so mad at Drew for simply filming and doing music with Simon, with Dennis, when she literally went on the show with Fallon, her coworker, went to this woman's house, smiled in her face, ate her food, flopped her big paid-for booty in this woman's pool, and then 3 months later was engaged to this man while he was still legally married to Fallon. But yet you want to have such a problem because Drew is filming in a studio? Why are you scared she's going to do to you what you did to Fallon? Because you acting like Drew is just a coworker. She's just a go naked influencer. So maybe you're worried karma's coming for you with your address. What you did to Fallon was dirty as hell. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care if you work at McDonald's. I'm working at McDonald's. You come into McDonald's. My husband and my kids come in on my lunch break. Hey, husband. Hey, kids. This is my coworker, Porsha, at the McDonald's. And then 2 weeks later, my husband is smashing Porsha. That wouldn't fly under any circumstances. I don't know why she thinks it's cool to fly on reality TV. Porsha is nasty for that. She will forever be nasty for that. And karma has everybody's address because Porsha looks like her soul has been sucked out of her. I don't know what roots Simon put on her. Sold her a complete pipe dream because Simon doesn't have any money, allegedly. He's done all this fraud, allegedly. He does not have the life. And she's up here lying about Pilar was like, can we talk to Papa? And I called him. He left us on red. He leaves his own children on red. He left Fallon's children on red that he raised as his own, allegedly. And you expect him not to leave your PJ on red? And I mean no disrespect to the children. This is not a disrespect to children, obviously. I'm talking about how she wants to have these fake storylines and act like we're supposed to believe this BS. This man wasn't taking care of his own kids. Allegedly. He dropped Fallon's kids like a hot potato, allegedly, when they got with you. Allegedly. So you want to get on our TV screens and cry boo-hoo-hoo? Because he allegedly, and I don't even know if I believe her story because Porsha is a big liar, in my opinion. So there's just a lot going on with that. Missy says Porsha has nothing going on, so she's starting drama for what? Exactly. Tay said Portia's doing too much. I agree. Missy says Porsha isn't a good friend to anyone, 100%. Join the Candy Crew. That's right, you guys. Subscribe. Ms. T says Shamea acts like she can't speak up when it's just Porsha. That's what I'm saying. Shamea is a snake. You have to watch out for people who people please you in your face, but then talk about you so dirty behind your back. And then when they're called out about it, they play the victim and try and flip it back on you. I'm not defending Porsha because I am not a Porsha fan. Pop It Open Porsha was never it for me. But in this situation, I actually think Shamea is the bigger snake than Porsha is. I think that Porsha underestimated Shamea. Because you could even see when they're at the table, she's like, this is scary. She's like, I don't know why you're coming on the show having all this smoke from me. Like, why are you all of a sudden having all this smoke from me? Because she's always had it. And now she wants to take your place. Don't get it twisted. Miss T says a child got hurt at the daycare and Diana had to close. Ooh. Darren says Drew clocked in on Porsha in a recent episode. I'm so proud of Drew. Me too. Teddy says don't understand the ladies' hatred for Drew. That's the thing. It's all performative. Portia's mad at Drew because she's jealous with the whole Dennis and singing situation. Kelli only has smoke for Drew because she's proving her loyalty to Shamea and being up Shamea's butt. Shamea has a problem with Drew because Drew called it like it was. She called her a lap dog, and like Drew said, a hit dog will holler. So Shamea got all in her weird wackadoodle feelings because she's a freaking weirdo, because Drew called it like it was. But I don't really think the other women really have it for Drew like that. Cynthia doesn't have a problem with her. I don't think Kelli, or we already talked about Kelli. I don't think Angela does, or anybody else. Phaedra might pretend to have a beef with Drew because she's being Porsha's lapdog. So there is that. Tate says Shamea was unhinged. She's bizarre. Darren said, I remember that scene. Yup, the one with the au pair. Miss T says Angela has been holding her own 100%. Angela and Drew are carrying the show. I agree. Britt Eady absolutely stinks. I agree. Angela's husband relationship is odd. Yeah, that to me is a glorified roommate situation. If she wants more out of a husband, I think I want more for her. I don't know if she's going to get it from Charles. If she's happy with that dynamic, then more power to her. But yeah. Darren says Britt should have shown up for the reunion taping. She took RHOA off her bio. Yeah. I don't know what's going on with Britt. Miss T says cheap Britt didn't have the money. Miss T says saw a few YouTubers. Yep. No need for country club. Miss T says Britt also put all the blame on her party designer. Crazy. True. That's what people do when they know that they messed up. It was my publicist. It was my social media manager. It was my event planner. Darren says, I felt like Britt could have shown more this season. I agree. Mrs. heard her husband is shady too. Would not be surprised. Missy says Britt wanted extra sympathy from the Kenya incident, so she used her license 100%. Teddy says Britt is a broke girl. Miss T says Britt didn't need to lie and say more was coming. 100. Exactly. That's the thing. If I was Britt, I would have been like, this is what I brought. You said to bring a donation. This is my donation. Be happy I brought anything. Be happy you got the 2 rolls of toilet paper. Be happy you got that, okay? Be happy you got it, because a donation is what a person chooses to give. The ladies need to stop. Tay says, reminds me somewhat of Danielle Jen from New Jersey. Tay says, did you see Kelly's dog? I can't with Kelli. She's exhausting. And Ralph is exhausting too. Yep, Ralph is so dirty, 100%, and thirsty. Yep. Tay says, hated when Ralph was chatting. Yep, with Drew's ops. Agree. Okay. Hey, Salt and Pepper Natural, you want to share?
Hey,
Yes.
yes, Angela and Drew, they are definitely the reason why I watch it. I believe that they have the best, the best storylines, the best stuff going on in their lives. And Phaedra, she can hate on Angela all she wants. And I believe she said something to the effect of she's the youngest old woman or old looking young woman or whatever. But it was funny when they flashed back to Phaedra's old face, pre-plastic surgery face of her and Apollo out there in the garage. So she really needs to watch herself. Angela looks great for her age.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe, Angela, pull out that fan anytime you want. Matter of fact, I think she needs to market her own fan. I'd buy it.
Me too. I'm hot right now, and I'm not going through the change yet. My mom would call it the change.
Right? She is great. I mean, she is really great for the show, but she has a good, she's really intuitive when it comes to the ladies. Unfortunately, not Charles, but she clocked it with Shamea, and all this, it's not like she just had an epiphany all of a sudden and realized, oh well, Portia's been treating me bad, she's not showing up in the friendship like how I need her to. you know Angela clocked it. No, no, she's just waiting for this opportunity now that she's on this platform to go after Portia. They don't like each
100%.
other, it's clear to see.
100%.
And that's let me see, Brit Eady.
Yeah.
Brit. Now, okay, so before the show started, it came out that that is Fallon's cousin, right? She's related to Fallon, Brit.
If
They
Brit,
do look alike too.
if Brit is related to Fallon and she is all Portia's but Brit is even worse than I thought. Because I could not speak to someone in my family. Say I'm estranged from my cousin. I don't know if they're estranged or not. But if a chick did to Fallon what Portia did to her, I would still not mess with her. Just out of like common courtesy. So if Britt is related to Fallon and she is all up Portia's butt like this, then I'm really happy Britt's gone. Because that's
And
dirty.
I could be wrong, but I'm like, I thought before the show started that it had came out that Brit was related to Fallon. So I'm trying to figure out, is this relationship that she has with Portia going on, is it real, or is it just that, she's keeping enemies close? Because I know Britt said that she's real tight with her family. Family is everything. So I couldn't imagine how she could be friends with Portia after how Portia did Fallon.
Agreed. That's so dirty if she is. Unless she's a spy, but I don't think Britt's that smart.
No.
She'd be like, oh, I wanted to spy, but there's no food for you. Here's 2 pieces of toilet paper.
Right. Well, thanks for taking my call on here.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for coming up. Come up anytime you want.
Right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, sweetheart. Hey, Adam. Adam says, hi, Ken, everyone. Hey, sweetheart. How are you? Hey, Darren. Something seemed off about the reunion shirt. I gotta look at it. Miss T says Drew got the last seat, which is crazy. How did Drew get the last seat? How did that happen? Let me see if I can look up RHOA season 16 reunion. Let's see. Okay. Huh. I don't know how they did that. That's crazy. So it's Andy, and then it's Porsha Shamea, and then next to Porsha is Phaedra. After Phaedra is Cynthia. Then on the other side, it's Shamea, then it's Angela, then it's Kelli, then it's Drew. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Salt Pepper Natural says Ralph is one of the girls. He is one of the girls. And thank you so much for coming up and sharing. It was great to hear your insights. Darren said Britt and Kelli does have a falling out, which will air in the coming episodes. Right. So I want to see what that's all about. Again, I think Britt is a bit of a grifter, but I think that there's something dark about Kelli. I think she's hiding something. There's just something off with Kelli. There's a fly in the milk. A little bit more. She's more strategic than Britt is. Britt's kind of like, hey, Joanne says, or John says, the crazy thing is Angela and Porsha are the same age. Wait, what? Angela and Porsha are the same age? And they're coming for her like that? Adam says, Britt is the worst cast member ever joined RHOA. Also, Kenya was vindicated by what Britt put on her story. What did Britt put on her story? Adam says, Shamea is a phony. Phaedra coming back was a joke as well. I agree 100%. Shamea is weird. Like, she's a ticky boom boom, boiling bunny type person. Like, there is something legitimately wrong with her. Like, there's something off. And I agree. I don't think we needed Phaedra to come back. Like, we really did not. That was unnecessary. As was Candy says, who's more obnoxious, Janet or Britt? Oh, Janet by far. Janet is way more obnoxious than Britt is. Because Britt is kind of like a doy. Do you know what I mean? She's like trying to be cool, like trying to be that girl. Like, she's stuck in like very like early 2000. Like, when was Nicki Minaj hot? like 2015, 2020, I don't know. Whatever era Nicki Minaj was, Brit's kind of stuck there. Like, Brit is kind of stuck there. Like, didn't she kind of like, I don't know. Hey, Kwan John says, I saw a tweet that says Shamea is being a lapdog to Porsha, Kelly's being a lapdog to Shamea, and Britt is being a lapdog to Kelli, and that's why they hate Drew. Exactly. Exactly. Hey, Patty. So supposedly the explicit pics were not of Britt. Then who were they of? Huh. Adam says, I sent you a DM. Okay, I'll check it out, boo-boo. Thank you. Then who are they of? But this is the thing, though. This is the thing. Even if the pictures were not of Britt, I haven't seen the pictures. I only saw what they didn't air on, like, they were like, oh, they're blurred out, and they didn't even air them on Bravo or Peacock. But regardless of whom were in the photos, Kenya still should not have shared inappropriate, sexual, graphic photos like that. So whether it was Britt or not, it was still someone. It was still a girl. It was still, so I don't think, to me, that still doesn't vindicate Kenya, because you don't do that. You don't put another woman, female, girls, or man, or boys, sexual situation. Maybe there was consent, maybe there wasn't consent, maybe they knew they were being filmed, maybe they didn't know they were being filmed. Some people said the people in it were underage. Whether they were underage or like they were like teenagers, to me that's still a child. So regardless of who is in the photo, it's not who is in the photo, it's the context of the photo. So do I think it's sad that Kenya got fired? Of course. But do I think it was the right choice? I do, because you shouldn't be putting that out there anyway. That's just my opinion. I'm not Team Britt. I still think what Britt did was wrong. And I still think Bravo was covering their own butts. They should have put Britt on pause the moment she said, I have a pew pew to Kenya. And you can't say she didn't have one when you didn't do the investigation until way later. She's going to be like, yeah, I did have one. She's not that stupid. Of course she's going to say she didn't have one. I don't know if you guys are watching Vanderpump Villa, but people are being fired left, right, and center for just looking the wrong way at somebody in Vanderpump Villa. And I'm here for it, because the more that there are true consequences for threats and abuse and piss poor behavior, the less people are going to get it. That's why you see now Porsha and everybody else are falling in line, because they don't want to be fired like Kenya, because that was a real consequence. And I'm sure that shook them to the core that Kenya got fired, right? So I think that I agree with Kenya being fired, but I don't agree with nothing happening to Britt, if that makes sense. Hey, John says, I heard that Britt was the cousin too, but it never came up on the show. Wow. That's crazy. If Britt really is a cousin to Fallon, that's dirty. Adam says, I'm not saying what Kenya did was good, but for Bravo and Andy to disinvite Kenya from the reunion is BS, especially as Britt didn't turn up. I still don't think that Bravo got rid of Kenya because of Britt. They got rid of Kenya because of the photos that Kenya put on the show. They could have been photos of anybody. It's the fact that she put those types of photos on the show is why Kenya got kicked off. So whether Britt there or not, it doesn't matter, because they didn't fire Kenya because of Britt. They fired Kenya because of Kenya. And that's the crucial piece people are missing. It's not that Bravo chose Britt over Kenya. It's that what Kenya did was so egregious, she had to be fired. You see what I'm saying? And it's not that Bravo chose Britt over Kenya when they didn't do anything to Britt. they just are sloppy with that stuff in general. And then now they're trying to cover themselves by, oh, we did an investigation. Yeah, sure you did. You did an investigation after people were like, did you do an investigation? Because how do you do an investigation afterwards when the person could be like, well, I didn't have anything. I was just talking out my head. That's not an investigation. You let Britt film. You let Britt play the victim with the whole situation. You let Britt go to Kenya's event when they never even had a side combo. So I don't think that Bravo is choosing Britt over Kenya. Kenya got fired because of what Kenya did, not because she did it to Britt. Do you see what I'm saying? That's the difference. Adam says, I still need to see Mormon Wives. Is it good as people say it is? I mean, I think it's really good. Do watch Mormon Wives and then we'll do a live on it. But I think Mormon Wives are really good. I don't really like those girls. I don't really like anybody, you know what I mean? Not personally. I don't know with these people personally. I just mean like the personas they play. But I think Mormon's Wives is good. I think it'll be good to watch. Missy says Kenya will be back. Bravo will use her very soon. I agree. I think as long as Kenya doesn't sue them, and I don't think she has, I think she'll get redemption. They'll bring her back. But if she pulls a Nene, they probably won't. But I agree. Hey, John, says Britt not coming shows that she's a fraud and she's soft. She isn't built for housewives. 100%. Maybe she also didn't want to answer questions about her husband and his alleged boyfriend. You know, again, for any newcomers on our show, we talk about sexuality, identity, all of it equally, because I believe we are all equal. So if we talk about boyfriend, girlfriend, gay, this, there is no disrespect and there is absolutely zero judgment. And we can all talk about it here freely and welcomed. So whether he had a boyfriend or a girlfriend, it's the same to me. So maybe she didn't want to talk about that. Adam says, also your favorite from Summer House quit. I know, Paige Desorable. Bye, Paige. Word on the street is like her and Hannah might have a spinoff show, or Lindsay and Amanda and Danielle and maybe Paige are going to have their own spinoff show. I'm tired of everybody on Summer House. And I mean everybody on Summer House. So I don't want them to get a spinoff because I won't be watching. And I want shows that I'm going to watch. Yeah, this is the bye Paige. Like, please, Paige is such. My biggest thing with Paige is if you have to tell us you're cool, then like you're not cool. She didn't have good fashion. She didn't have good style. She wasn't very nice. I don't get it. Like, it's just like mediocre at best. To me, Paige, mediocre. Hannah, less than mediocre. Amanda, bland as hell. Danielle, weirdo. Lindsay, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Sierra needs so much therapy. It's not even funny. Kyle, free Kyle. I think Kyle is a prisoner in his marriage. Carl needs to go find himself. Like, it's just a lot. Mrs. Did you watch NYC, the new gen? I haven't. Just because, and if you guys have, let me know if you like it. I never got into like the Bierman crew. Like, I'm not sure I would like, what's her name? Brielle? Like, I'm not sure I'm going to want to watch Kim Zolciak's kids. And doesn't she get into a beef with Kandi Burruss's daughter? I heard they're beefing. Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't feel like I would connect with like Kim Zolciak's kids. I might watch it for Meredith Mark's son. I like him, but who knows? Hey, the Johns as well. On a good note, Nene is going to be on Traders and probably on next season since Andy hosts those reunions. Ooh, dun 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 dun. That will be interesting. Very interesting. Adam says, I only knew about Summer House in 2023. It sounds like one of those shows that nobody knows outside of the States. Could be. Very much could be. Da, 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 da. All right, you guys. Do we want to do the Valley? We've been on for over an hour. Put in the chat box. Do we want to talk about the Valley? New Gen is good? Okay, Adam says New Gen NYC is good. All right.